I'm going to show you in this video how to introduce BDSM into your relationship. And I'm not going to take it just as theory. You're going to get, in the end, I'm going to give you a step-by-step plan. And in the end, you'll get an assignment that you can actually do together. I think that BDSM is adding to any relationship something beautiful. Because BDSM has nothing to do with power abuse. What it is it builds up trust. It builds up connection. It builds up love. Can you imagine that somebody would blindfold you that you don't trust? And now what happens is, feel for a minute what it does with your body. If that happens, dying the same. You need to be trusting. You need to trust each other. And it's both ways. It's not just the submissive trusting the dominant that he's not going to hurt her in a way that she doesn't like it. It also requires the dominant person to trust the submissive that she's going to tell him whenever he crosses a border that she's not willing to cross or that she can't take it anymore. She has the same responsibility and they need to have mutual trust. See? So that's also why I'm going to give you 7 steps on how to create an environment and how to experience your first BDSM night. And I'm totally excited and I think you're going to love it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 7 steps and one of them is the actual assignment. So that means you can take this video and you can take it and I'm going to give you instructions and that's how you're going to play. If you're not sure about kink, if it's for you, then the first thing I would recommend to you, it's not part of the steps, but just do it before you start, is go to my website, kinkyassignments.com, and there's a tiny test. Fill in the test and it will tell you a bit more about if you're more dominant or more submissive or that you're not interested at all in it. Step 1. I told you that BDSM is built on trust. So that means that the first step is also, it requires attention. So take some time and attention to figure out for yourself, what is it that you actually would like? Just write it down. It doesn't have to take much time. 15 minutes will be enough, but just write for yourself. What is it that you fantasize about? Would you love your partner to wear a fireman's suit? There's so many women who dream that they would love to be raped. The whole point is they would never actually love to be raped, but they would love to have like what we call in BDSM, we call it consensual rape play. So it means that we play a game, it's a role play, and your partner is going to rape you. He's going to drag you from the room and he's going to throw you on the bed and he's going to do stuff to you. And it's exciting and it's fun if you're into this kind of stuff. And the whole point is, maybe you are into this kind of stuff, but you never dare to admit it. It happens for a lot of people. It happened to me. I would never, ever, I would have never admitted that one of my main fantasies was that I was dragged through the room by my hair. Can you imagine? That was not really something that I would like to tell my mom or even my sister or my best friend. So what is it that you dream of, that you secretly desire? Write it down for yourself. If you have that, it's time to go to your partner. Make sure that you find him in a place that there is actually space to talk about it. Because what you're going to do is talking about something that is, sex is always, even in couples, it's not always, but there's a layer of embarrassment, shame, anger, sadness, guilt often. We grow up in a society where sex is not like very common, and even if sex is common, kinks, that's a different story. And what you're now going to do is you're going to talk about your deepest desires with each other. So make sure that you create a space where you can actually do that that's safe. It also requires both of you. You don't want to have an argument before that and then start to talk about it. Make sure that you're in a safe place where you can be open and vulnerable and you dare to postpone it if it's not there. So take the time and talk to each other. What you want to do is you're going to talk about what is your secret desires? What would you love to do? What is the roles plays? What are the fantasies that you're talking about? What would you love to do to me? A really nice question also to ask is, imagine that I'm not your boyfriend or not your girlfriend. What would you love me to do with me? Because what you always see is that your sex life is often, it says a lot about how your relationship is. And sometimes you assume things that the other likes or wants, and you would never ever ask because it might interfere with your relationship in daily life. So if you ask this question, what would you do to me if I wasn't your boyfriend or your girlfriend? Or what would you want me to do to you if I wasn't your girlfriend or your boyfriend and we had a whole night together? And I'm totally hot and you're totally into me and like, whoa, what's gonna happen? It's an amazing question to start this discussion. And you see that, I mean, it's going to start slowly. Just give it time. Be honest. Don't do like, nah, really? That kind of stuff. It's not really appreciated. It's really not going to help. What you want to do is to build trust. Because you can't do anything in BDSM if you don't trust each other. You need trust. You need communication. You need to be radically honest. Radically honest to yourself and to your partner. That was step 3. Already talk about it. Let's plan it. Because actually evening together, to have an evening together, I'm going to give you an assignment in a minute. For an evening, you need to prepare it. First of all, you only want to have this evening together. You want to have it undisturbed. If you have kids, you're not going to be in the same place as your kids. So either they're out or you're out. Take a hotel or use your grandparents. I don't care. It doesn't matter, but you just don't want your kids, like you're in the middle of something and somebody suddenly loses a tooth, wets his bed, pukes, or whatever happens with kids. That I'm totally aware that this can happen. You don't want that. Okay? So that's my main thing. Make sure that you have a place. I know it means that you have to plan your sex night a week up front, but trust me, that's fun. If you know you're going to have sex in a week, you know what you can do to make it exciting already up front. I'm going to give you some tips for that too. It's going to be totally awesome. But okay, so what you do is you prepare, you make sure that you have an evening alone. Then you need some stuff. I'm going to give you an assignment. You're going to experiment with bondage. And what you need is 4 ropes. I don't know, you don't have to use them all, but you want them just in case that you get to the point that you tie all 4 of them. Especially because after the assignment, I give you plenty of time to experiment with anything. What you need is, so you have the 4 ropes and you also need scissors. Scissors, why? Just because I want it to be safe. I don't think you're going to do the first time, you're not going all in, and you're definitely not going, I'm not going to give you instructions how to do some complete shibari piece of art, with the complete bondage that people are in all wicked ways tied. That's not the point. No. But what can happen is, especially if this is the first time that you're going to experience, it's not a weird thing to experience something, for instance, fear. Somebody would just freak out. It happened to me the first time that I got blindfolded. I freaked out. Why? Because I had an issue with trust. There was something not right in our relationship, so I freaked out. If I freak out and I'm tied, I would really like it that you have scissors so you can free me as soon as possible. This is the first step. So just bring scissors. You're probably not going to use them, but at least you have them, just for sure. Okay, so now here's your assignment. You're not going to start there because in the preparation you need to talk before that. But your assignment will be as follows, and you need to know what the assignment is to be able to do step 5. So step 6 is the actual assignment. The assignment is, you're both going to get 20 minutes. 20 minutes to be dominant, 20 minutes to be submissive. And why? Maybe one of you is very dominant and one of you is very submissive. It doesn't matter. The whole purpose of this exercise, there's actually 5 purposes. The first purpose is experience what it's like to tie your partner. The second one is experience what it's like to be tied. The third experience is experience what your body is going to do. What happens if he ties you, and if he does something to you. If he's just, maybe he's just pulling your nipple or so. What's happening? Is it making you turned on? Can you see that your body is reacting? And how? Do you get goosebumps? Are your nipples going to start swelling? Are you getting wet? Are your eyes going to sparkle? There's all kinds of signals that your body can give. And I want you to use this experiment to experience what happens. Just feel it. Just show. Just go into it. It also means that just try to experience different things. Experiment with the ropes, tie 2 hands together, but in front of you, over your head. It can be behind your back. What you can do, of course, what's also really fun, is to tie one hand to one leg, or maybe the hands to the sides of the bed. How does it feel if you're tied like this, and if you're on your back and on your belly? What's the difference? What does it do to you? And then also what I want you to do is to experiment also the other way around. But if you're in the dominant position, you're not so much paying attention to what your body is doing. Usually your body in a dominant position is not so much reacting. It might be, but you're mainly, what you need to learn in the dominant position is to have a look at the body of the person you are dominating. How is his or her body reacting? What do you see? I mean, and it doesn't have to be that complicated. You can just feel if somebody is wet. Okay? You can see how nipples react. You can see goosebumps. You can see if somebody's twitching. Maybe something hurt. But if it hurts, it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean, it does matter, but it doesn't mean that it's also something that's not turning him on or her. So that's what I would like you to experiment with. That's your assignment for today. And there's a 5th purpose, and the 5th purpose is have as much fun as possible. So, okay, these are your 5 purposes. But before you get into the actual play, which is number 6, the assignment that I now kind of explained it already. Before you get into number 6, I want you to do step 5 first. And it's a step you always do before every scene, as we call it. That also sounds, it's a typical BDSM term for usually when you play, it's like a certain amount of time or an evening or so. And before you start playing, you make an agreement with each other. What you do is you make sure that you know from each other what are hard limits. How you have hard and soft limits. I'll definitely create a video about that as well. But hard limits, that means what am I definitely not going to do? And you have to think about it as the submissive. You think about it. What is my partner not allowed to do? Some people really hate it if their nipples are touched. Some people don't want to have their tongue done anything. Some people really don't want to have something in their asses. Other people, like me, are complete anal sluts and they love everything in their ass. If you don't like something, if you hate it, this is your chance. I can't emphasize it enough. It's your responsibility on how good your experience is. And this is one of the things where you take your responsibility as a submissive. You tell your partner what you like and what you don't like and what you don't want to. And he will never do that. That's how you build up trust. What you also do is you check if the safe words are known for both of them. Usually what I would recommend is just start with the normal ones. I mean, later on, maybe you can come up with your own ones, but it's actually quite easy just to use yellow and red. Red is for stop. And stop you rarely use because stop means the whole scene is over. Stop, I can't take it anymore. Something happened. It happens. I had it once that we did a scene with I Love Pain. We did a scene with Tabasco. And I stopped shaking and I was so cold and I just couldn't take it anymore. I was completely out of my mind and I was crying and it was terrible. And I used the word red because I couldn't take it anymore. And then that's the point that immediately everything stops. He unties me, he held me in a blanket and he put me under the shower later just to make sure that I was okay. The second word is yellow. And yellow you use for when you want somebody to slow down. That it's pretty intense. It's like, ooh, I can barely take it. Please don't level up a bit. Just take it on this level and I'll be fine. Or give me a break to breathe or something. That's how you use yellow. So these are the two main things that you do up front. And what you do also, of course, is you decide who is going to start as the dominant and who is going to start as the submissive. Then we get to number 7, and number 7 is also a bit intertwined with number 6, is evaluation. Because I told you in your assignment you have 2 times 20 minutes. Both of you have 20 minutes. If you can make it longer, or I wouldn't do it shorter if I were you. You really need 20 minutes. But if you say we both want half an hour, it's totally fine by me. For now, what you do is after the 20 minutes are over, you take the time. You can't switch immediately. It's a completely different mindset. And even if you're not going that deep, you really want to experience the other side as well. So make sure that you don't just immediately switch. Take some time. Take time to evaluate. And talk to each other. What worked? What didn't work? Did you like it? Did it turn you on? Did you find it comfortable to submit? Was it comfortable to dominate? What was challenging for you? This kind of stuff. Just make sure that you get to know each other. I mean, it's the first time probably that you played like this. So make it worth and make it valuable and make it count. So, one rule coming under no circumstances. I don't know what happens with you, but with a lot of people, especially if you're not trained, as soon as you come, you lose all your energy and you don't want that. So you play the full 20 minutes for the full 20 minutes dominance, the full 20 minutes submission. After that, you can do whatever you want, but in that time, you're not allowed to come. Deal? So I hope you're excited. I think this is going to be amazing. Take this video if you're going to talk with your partner so you know what kind of questions you have to ask. You can also take it whatever, just watch it again before you're going to play so you know exactly what you need. But if you have any questions that you would love to know about BDSM lifestyle, about how you can introduce, what kind of toys you can use, what would be nice to start with, just ask me a question. I love to answer them. I'm just going to make another video for it. So I hope you enjoyed it. Have fun and play with passion.